Ma'am, we started about organizing and about the different principles of organizing.
All right. Thank you, Amisha. I'm glad that you unmuted yourself and answered. I'm glad to hear somebody new answering, and that's too with a razor sharp precision that we were talking about principles of organizing. There were 15 principles that we would have talked through. Let me get a reconfirmation if we are done with all 15 of them. Are we?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Thank you. Such a super swift answer. Good. I'm glad that within we started at 10:50. Within 4 minutes, I'm back to my session. Amazing. I could save on time. All right. So these are the principles. If you check these tick boxes, whatever the organization structure that you'll choose for your company or as a manager that you inherited to would be a more agile, more responsive work structure that you would have. That's the only thing. So that's an idea that we are talking about here. So whatever that you remember out of this, try and apply in your own organizational setup and you'll be able to see the far superior results. Going further, this is formal and informal organization. This is something we have already deliberated in the past few sessions. Since it makes a part of organizing also, we are rediscussing here, but I'll only cursorily touch upon as we have already deliberated. So formal is something which is deliberately, consciously created in order to facilitate for the goal attainment of the organization. Right? For example, yours A, B, C, D as the four sections of CSC. They are deliberately, purposefully created so that the coordination becomes easy for teachers to navigate through their classes. Right. So that is there is whenever you have a formal organization, the main driving force behind it is the organizational goal attainment. You should be doing almost everything to ensure that the organizational goals are attained most effectively and efficiently. So that's where you deliberately create processes. So let it be your passport office, which is a process-driven organization, or let it be your Delhi Metro, which is geographically divided organization, or any other organization which have functional domains of management as HR, marketing, finance, operations, and various other verticals. Right? So everybody has a conscious thought getting into what kind of structure is one looking for. That's a formal one. Informal, we are all people, right? By very virtue of being human beings, I have certain likings and dislikings. Like when it comes to people, I can like somebody, I can dislike somebody for my own reservations. We all do. Right, just like you have your favorite teachers, teachers have their favorite students, and most often the most responsive student is being sent out to a faculty to get into a class cancellation, postponement of a particular class, or reduction of a syllabus for an exam, isn't it? That goes back again to the psychology and science to it. That's a basic human nature. Again, based upon the same basic human nature, you would have informal associations, like the very virtue that you occupy seat in a conference room. You organize obviously with your gang of friends, isn't it? Unless and until you are the last one to enter and there is only one or two seats, you would always make sure that you sit with your group of friends so that when the lecture goes overboarding, right, you can at least exchange glances and can have a kill the time and have best of the gala times, isn't it? So that itself looks into the informal nature of organization. That within informal organizational setup, you are pretty much close to some people just because you share common interests, just because you have a common liking, you have common, interesting fields to share upon. That goes to the informal organization. So within your section also, if I'm taking in-person class, I can see you would always sit with your group of friends. That's an informal setup. So within any formal setup, there would always be informal cohorts of people arising out of a very basic human need of to be a part of a group. Right? So the only difference that you would have from formal to informal would be formal is always governed by rules and regulations, wherein informal would have more of a group norms, which are general standard do's and don'ts. Right, and there is a common mutual purpose that people have joined for. So maybe it be any part of any photography club or any other debating club in society or say volunteering. It's just out of as an interest. You are not bound to. Right. You can read the differences between formal and informal for yourself. If you're stuck with something, please feel free to revert back to me. I'll be happy to revisit. This is another function of the second last function of management. Done with planning, done with organizing. There are two more to be covered yet, and I intend to finish this off today. Let's see how well we do it. Leading. My question out here to everybody who is tuned in the classes today, do we have any leaders in the class? I do have 44 people with me. Do we have any leaders in the class? And if you think so, please raise your hand. I hope the question is clear. Any doubts in the question?
No, ma'am, the question is clear.
Then it's okay. People making choices is all right. At least it should be clear where they have to make a choice. Okay. So any leaders in the class? My mighty engineers, gems, and even the non-gems. Is it such a difficult question to answer? Not even a single hand raised, like that's awfully surprising. I'm curious to know what is going on in your head. What are you busy thinking at? Anybody? I'm sure when you speak up, you have a lot of substance to talk about. So what is it that's stopping you from not raising your hand to pull it down? Okay, I'll go calling out names and at least have few opinions heard. Because everybody's responsibility is nobody's responsibility. So everybody else passing on the buck saying that, okay, if I'm not answering, there are 43 other people in the class who would answer. This is still a last call for volunteers to answer. Do we have any leaders in the class?
Ma'am, not exactly a leader, but like tendency to plan and organize things. Like so, if we are in, so if there's a team to do any tasks, so I would like to organize and plan things how we will proceed, but not exactly leading everything, but just like to plan and organize everything.
Okay, fine. Very well taken, Gav. Okay. Few more. Anmol, I don't think I've ever heard from you. Anmol Vashisht. Anmol, at least I got to know that Anmol isn't listening around. Pointers to be noted.
Or his mic isn't working.
And that's something standard across. Even if it is, people would end up saying that, okay, oh, I had a network, I had a glitch somewhere, my network was a problem, or my mic isn't working. You all, most of you, I'm sure you operate out of your smartphones. I wonder if people would plug into desktop. There would be, but I've seen lesser probability of it. So your phone's not working and speaker's not working, not taken. Ayush Patra. Okay, so even Ayush is not listening to. Gautam. People minded that it's very much on recording. I can revisit a session, and if I was to allocate for class participation, I can very well know that these were the people who were called out. At least say yes, no, you are being called out. And the entire world knows that you are being called out. Gautam, any opinion that you have? Okay. Karthik?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, what is your take?
If I'm a leader or not?
A leader, yeah.
Ma'am, not sure because I haven't quite done something that can be called as being a leadership quality yet. I haven't quite done something yet, I think.
Okay. All right. Very well taken. But Karthik, I'm curious to understand, like, what do you think a leader is?
A leader is a person in a group maybe who guides and who motivates people towards a common goal maybe.
Okay, motivates and guides. All right.
Maybe yes,
Well
yes.
taken. Good one. Okay, and the last one, Kabir. Kabir Nagpal. Kabir Nagpal, this is a shout out to you. If you are listening, tuned in, please unmute yourself. Well done. So there are only two people who get an attendance for today, Garv and Karthik. For rest others, yes, who unmuted themselves and answered in whatever way, whether it was they are all doing fine or not. Good, but please participate. Section D, it would be problematic because the very virtue of the subject is so that we need to have deliberations. Uh, in case you participate, this will simply enrich the kind of discussion that we would have. That's the only difference it would make too. And I hope you would enjoy the discussions because the peer learning is one thing that happens, and that's an experience that you pay for. Otherwise, you could have done a MOOC course and you were pretty much better off. Yes, Agrika, want to share something? I saw some activity, muting and muting. Sagarika, you want to share something?
No, ma'am, that was by mistake.
All right, a beautiful one. Okay. So people, my question was like, do we have leaders in the class? And it was surprisingly that none out of 45 people out there raised their hand. I think you are mighty engineers. You are brilliant people. Have a little vote of confidence. Leaders in the sense, like in case you have a question, at least put it across. What is your understanding of leaders? As I asked Karthik, why do you think so that you are not the one? Because there is a notion that I believe in as a leader, somebody who guides and somebody who motivates. In that capacity, like you might be like Garv is an elected representative of the class, so he can very well confidently say that yes, I am, because CR of the class is an elected position by very virtue that he is the CR of the class. That's some comradeship that he is exhibiting. So he is an elected president. He is an elected leader of the class. Right, but in your own personal capacity, that's only one position. That's a system default. We could have only one CR per section. Right. But then apart from it, in our own personal capacities, I'm pretty much sure, and if this is not true, I'm kind of like quite surprised that why is it not happening? Because you would in your personal capacities would have organized certain events, would have guided some of your friends, right? It could not be a very structured approach, but still somewhere you would have given a vote of confidence to somebody who was having a bad day, right? Or somebody in a chaotic situation, you came out as a leader, right, and managed to navigate the situation through. But something very simple, as much as like an everyday blues that we face somewhere out on roads, it's a massive traffic jam. If you are the one who is not constantly sitting in the car seat and honking and cursing almost everybody around for the civic sense of driving or the policy makers or the infrastructure, but rather got out of the car and got it sorted, you are a leader because you managed a situation. So it need not be a defined position in an organization. These are limited. Just like CR is a limited position, there's only one. There's a cap to it. Right? But in your own personal capacity, you got out of car and you managed the situation. For me, that's what the virtue of leadership is. If that strikes a chord somewhere, have a little vote of confidence for yourself. Be confident raising your hand that in my own personal capacities, I think and I believe I've done something. I've managed an event, I've organized an event, I've managed a crisis, I've managed a conflict, I have navigated my friend, I advised somebody for whom it was a turnaround. If you have done that, you are very much a leader for me. Very much. You might not cresta in a particular position, but you're still a leader in your own way. And that way, please have a vote of confidence for yourself. The world around is anyways to pull you down, right? There are a lot many to have criticism around. At least you for yourself have it. And if you don't, perhaps God bless us all. So that is where my question was, and I presume by now, if you have heard through, Unlike few of the people who were called out and non-responsive, if you're listening through, I think somewhere at the back of your mind, you might recall certain instances which calls you as a leader, right? So please have that in that context I was talking through, and I'm sure there are many of them. You might be a little reluctant to raise your hand looking into the people's expressions, observations, and a peer understanding, but still, I think if I talk one-on-one, there will be few more discoveries that I'll have. I'm putting this back to the discussion here. This is a favorite question of mine. Any leaders in the class, I open my leadership sessions with the same, and I usually have many of them. If it's not in this would be something management by exception that I look through. So this is where, as your friend Karthik very rightly said that, okay, I don't think I've done anything which calls me for leader, but yes, leadership is about guidance and motivation. That these are the two words that he precisely used. And yes, see how well it's like hitting the nail on the head. It's absolutely the same thing that your slide talks about, giving a direction or instruction. In organizational setup, you may have it precisely for an employee so that an organizational goal is attained because you have fixed your target as in terms of vision and mission of the organization, and everybody is working towards that. So henceforth, direction becomes very important and critical, because if something is not being monitored through, somebody is not being checked through, it's possible that people get derailed, right? So it's like a compass resetting. So somebody keeps you on the track throughout. Our parents in that capacity have done it. If you can imagine them as leader, somebody who had an influence over you. Your teachers would have done it. Go back to your favorite teachers. Go back to the most difficult subjects. Go back to your attendance statistics. Even if it was not compulsory, but somebody was your favorite, you'll make sure that you are the first one to join and you are almost every day there, no matter the hell may break loose, whatever. Isn't it? Again, that goes to a kind of influence that somebody has created on you. This is the same capacity that somebody in marketing is being overly exploited. The moment you have Sachin Tendulkar coming on air and says that Boost is a source of my energy, for all the cricket enthusiasts who are out there, it creates a kind of influence. Though we are much smarter generation, we do believe this is a celebrity endorsement. But when it comes to buying behaviors, research says people are irrational. Right, so it's not always logical that why we end up buying certain things. In that way, marketing and leadership goes hand in hand. So leadership is kind of an influence that you create. Go back to Indian mythology. I wonder if you are a generation who is living out of Snapchat, Instagram, and whatnot. At least I'm a little bygone era, and I did watch on Doordarshan the recent telecast of Ramayana along with my kids at home. And in that, if you see in every mythology, there is a radiating aura that comes at the back of the head. Right? If you watch through Sri Krishna, there is a radiating, oozing light at the back of the head. Same, the Jesus has a ring on the forehead which oozes light. That's nothing but a leadership quality that we talk through. We call it aura. For example, if you are in a meeting, in a conference, anywhere, and you feel somebody walks in and there is a positivity, there is an aura that you feel. Right, that's exactly what is leadership quality. In those days, it is being reflected as something as light coming out, and that's basically in terms of OBHR context. In leadership, we call this as aura. This is one of the leadership quality that people believe in, and that goes back to the same logic. People have it to varying degrees. Somebody might have more of it, somebody might have less of it, somebody might have one of the aspects, somebody might have something else, another aspect. We are leaving that discussion for a detailed deliberation when we talk in Unit 3 about your leadership styles and motivation and various other characteristics. But since there is a leadership qualities, I'm touching upon this as a point. So look back into the various classical leaders that you have. Let it be the most thin and the lean man ever in the history, Mahatma Gandhi, and the vision of free India. Without any bloodshed, we overthrew the British colonial empire, and that became a classical case. Right? Because people believed in that vision as a leader. So it was nothing that came out of a structure, but somebody who believed in that power of vision. Again, the same thing happened with Anna Hazare in 2010, when people believed in the anti-corruption, right? And the Arvind Kejriwal was too smart and IIT to make a career out of it. That's where it was born, isn't it? So that's where people believed in that reason. So there are certain leadership attributes in whatever that you say that has an influence on people. Somewhere people believe in that cause. Or even in the organizational context, I'll take you to the Guru movie, whereby Dhirubhai Ambani says that we have a big order to dispatch and I don't have money to pay salaries. I'll only be able to pay salaries at the end of 2 months when we are able to pay dispatch this order and our bills are realized. So why would somebody work without money? Right? 2 months is a big enough time for people living out of EMIs and whatnot. They'll have their financial commitments to keep up. Isn't it? Still people did it. Why? Again, it goes back to the leadership. And the last example that I would quote here is would go back to the Harvard Business Review case study that talks about the Taj and the terrorist attack. When people put such an exemplary show of leadership, of managing and safeguarding the lives of everybody who was the guest at Taj, Harvard Business Review professors they were interested to see a curious case of why it happened. So, why such an exemplary service? They reveal that apart from a lot of other statistics that the case study talks about, few important ones for me to drive home a point here is they went back to they were none of the people were recruited from the top tier cities or the B schools. They have gone back to the remote hinterlands, right, and asked one pertinent question to everybody as teachers that who are the students who had utmost respect and regard for their teachers, elders, and the parents. That was the sole factor based upon which people were hired because that's a service industry, irrespective of your grade sheets, irrespective of the fancy institutions or the Ivy League institutions that you come from. More important was the servitude, which is a service attitude, and henceforth they nailed it appropriately. And henceforth the exemplary case, and henceforth the Harvard Business Review case study. So that is where leadership goes back to. Right? So it could be exhibited in your day-to-day affairs. It can be exhibited by a particular position that you have in an organization. So one of the important things that it does is a motivation. People are able to move beyond the call of duty. Right? That's where motivation is an integral part of leadership when you talk through. And that's where you can have it monetary. The moment you get paid handsomely, you anyways have a motivation, isn't it? Or the non-monetary, when by a good job done or a challenging project done is itself motivating. So that is where you can use motivation theories also and communicating at a regular interval. That's where I have very strongly believed personally that dialogue is more important than consensus. And that's where I urge people to please participate in the discussions because each one of you has a voice and it's important to be heard. So communicating is another important integral aspect of leadership. If you look into the most iconic speeches of the world, why people believed? Because of the speeches, because of the vision, somebody could articulate it into words, isn't it? So communication is needed at that. I'm not talking about language as a choice, it's just a matter of expression. But I'm talking about articulation of your vision into words that you communicate to people. So let it to be the Martin Luther King's iconic speech of I Have a Dream, or you talk about our own very own India's Swami Vivekananda's speech that said nobody elsewhere had a salutation of what to address a gathering apart from ladies and gentlemen. Well, it was Swami Vivekananda who addressed its brothers and sisters of America, and it made history. Right? So that is where communication is important. If you look through the definitional aspect of it, it says few of the important words here. It is a managerial function. Of course, it's one of the functions of management. One, in order to have organizational processes be so placed that you can achieve organizational goals. So you can always tell people the rules and regulations, right? For example, for the people non-responding, I as a faculty has every right to put 0 mark in internal assessment if I am assessing people based on class participation. And that's no question asked because I reserve that right as a faculty, right? But then I don't think that would be an appropriate way. The more that I encourage people to talk through and see through the lens that why are people not responding, I think that's more humanistic way and that's where leadership comes into. When I put 0 everybody in internal assessment for non-participation in classes, that's a manager in me at work, not the leader in me at work. Right? So that's a difference. Second thing is, this is a life spark of an enterprise because you are directly dealing with people. Rest all what you did in terms of planning, what you did in terms of organizing, or you would do in terms of controlling, is organizing things in place, is preparing things, right? This is one aspect which could phenomenally make a difference. It's a people's aspect. Business is no more about finance or marketing, which people conventionally believes. No, people, business is all about people. They can absolutely make and mar your business. So that's where it's a life spark of the organization. There is one of the mistakes out here in this slide. Can somebody point out what is a mistake? At least that serves as a wake-up call as well. Another, in fact, I'll get to know who all are at work and who are not. Can somebody make out what is a mistake? I'm not looking at the grammatical errors, but one of the words is misspelled. Can somebody figure out and let me know? "52 people. People's slides
Ma'am,
are
instead of direction, you should be leading. Leadership is that. No, I guess no.
Thanks for trying, Garth. No worries, it's not. I'm looking at something else. I do have 54 people.
Ma'am, instead of planning, organizing, and staffing being mere, they should be major preparations for doing the work.
Okay. Good to note. All right. Well taken, but there is something else that I'm looking at. I'm really glad, Ankur, that you read through. What else others think? There's one word which is wrongly written. Can you make out? My mighty engineers? Try. This is no way an exam.
And maybe supervising.
Okay, what in supervising?
Ma'am, like when I read supervising, I feel like the leader will only, like, in the form of hierarchy, he'll only tell the workers what to do and he'll not help them achieving that. So I personally feel that supervising should not be there, or like it should be replaced with something else.
Okay, fine. Thank you, Dhruv. All right, makes a sense. We'll discuss and debate if leaders are managers and vice versa, how long it holds true when we discuss in the unit 3, leadership and motivation. Good to know that. What more? I'm yet to reach at a one point that I'm looking for. There is one word which is wrongly written, and I've intentionally removed spelling mistake. Like you see, his CONTD has a red mark that shows this is a typo, this is an error, spelling mistake. But then in continuation, you write as an abbreviation. But in this slide, I've consciously removed that because I wanted people to figure this out. I take this as a check call. At least I got to know there are 4 people listening to me and answering. So the last call, people, I don't want to spill the beans.
Ma'am, I think subordinate is wrong.
Yes, ma'am, it should be plural.
Like subordinate, a leader cannot say that someone is subordinate.
Okay, where is it? In which line it is?
Ma'am, the second last.
Okay, influencing, guiding, supervising, motivating, subordinate. Okay.
Ma'am, maybe it's about the inert personal aspect.
Yes, ma'am.
It's not completely a personal aspect.
All right. This is Rashika. You nailed it. I owe a coffee to you. I know it's nothing like a coffee. You're most welcome to drop in my office anytime and could, ask it with Aksar that you owe a coffee to me.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right. I'm so glad for everybody else who tried. Good to note your perspectives. That's what I said. Management is all about perspective. You bring in a leader, and this reminds me of one of the interesting cases. You'll make a sense. You'll be able to associate it with Microsoft as a company, right? One of your dream companies could be possible in the tech giant. This was making all the wrong news headlines until 2015, because in almost every space it was beaten up by the competitors. For example, if you talk about the search, it was beaten by Google. When you talk about cloud, it was overtaken by Amazon. And when you talk about smartphone space, Apple was overdriving it. Right? So it was just people were looking at Microsoft in a way that it is only interested for making sales pitch and not any new innovative technologies. Come in 2015 and come in Satya Nadella, very own Manipal brand, right? He breathed the life into the organization in a sense that by very virtue of the leadership position that he anchored, he brought in certain changes because his perspective was different. So he made that tech giant into a customer friendly company and secondly an innovation hub, right, which something Microsoft was lagging previously, and made cloud as the central core of the entire organization. And whatever that we see nowadays in the app and the platform sharing, or the very basis of sharing economy, goes back to the clouds, and hence the very revival of the organization. So when you talk about organization, leadership is one such thing that brings around a change in the business world because it's a matter of perspective. So the moment the company is not doing fine, people change the leadership and there is a new leash of life that it brings into. Exactly what happened with Satya Nadella and Microsoft. And rest all is history for people to follow. So that's exactly what Rashika pointed out, that direction is an inert personal. This is a typo here. This is intentionally being written as an inert. So this is interpersonal. Personal comes from one of the functions that we'll subsequently see in Unit 3. Unit 2, in fact, talks about persona. The HR function, the entire HR workforce of the organization is also known as the personal department. Even the terminology is no more in use. This is an outdated version of it. But previously, HR department was always known as personal, right? In that context, it is not inert personal, but interpersonal because it's between you and me as a people, right? So between entire workforce in the organization. So that is where the direction that deals with all the people to have a direction setting for this. I've already said the compass resetting. What does a compass do? It shows you a direction, isn't it? So influencing people, guiding people, orienting them, supervising them, motivating them. Because why we are saying subordinate? Because in an organizational setup, if as drawing parallels with what I said, if you look your teachers as leaders, if you look as your mentors as leader or your parents as leaders, they have somewhere influenced us, isn't it? Every time you have a good professor and see the kind of influence, and every time you would not have not so good, I know what does it mean to. You being at the receiving end as the best judges, you would have seen it right from your kindergarten to your school to your BTech studies, isn't it? That makes a difference. So that is where in those contexts we are talking about subordinate, because leaders at very time, manager can be a leader, but not always, right? Because leadership is way much more rather than telling somebody about rules and regulations and targets, right? So in that context, the subordinate is written over here because in an organizational work setting we are talking about. And we'll reserve the debate with, are the leaders the managers? To an extent, yes, but not always, and vice versa, not true. So that is where we have talked through. Going further, these are the 4 critical things that it talks about. One is supervision. That's the lowest level of somebody simply telling you that, see, man, you are doing a good job or you are not doing a good job, and what could be the repercussions of it. Or if you're short of your target or you're overshooting it and hence incentivized. So that is somebody is watching. That's exactly what we as managers definition is talked through. That somebody who oversees the work of others or subordinates. So in that context, supervision does fit in. So at least it gives me a feel that managers can be leaders. But please read it with a catch, not always, not necessarily. We have come across our own disastrous set of commanding, controlling kind of leaders, teachers, parents, whatnot, isn't it? Second is the motivation, inspiring somebody, right? That's exactly what, if you are an entrepreneur and you follow Elon Musk, anybody following Elon Musk, quite a popular amongst the youth.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Saurav, your video is on. Okay, Shrijan is following. Saurav Ganguly, your video is on and I'm getting to see your ceiling fan. All right, this is not a fan moment. Okay, so we had Shrijan, we had Garv and few others also following Elon Musk. Tesla as a company is such a popular amongst the youth. Because, all right, Rashika as well. All right, interesting to know that because Tesla is one of the companies who those who invest in the stock market by every permutation and combination, people could not arrive at the kind of valuation people have realized once they've invested into Tesla. Right, it goes beyond any logics and any mathematics. Well, ever since Joe Biden is elected as a US president, he is a hardcore environmentalist, and that is where the recent most dip that Tesla has suffered is a 30% devaluation as one of the massive in the history. A lot is being talked about because Joe Biden as a president would have more of an inclination towards cleaner technologies, and that's where Tesla took a hit. However, people are still a die-hard fan and still keeping fingers crossed that this is just a momentarily, it'll again bounce back to life. So that is where when we talk about leaders, so why following about Elon Musk? What's so special about it? It kind of gives you an inspiration that somebody has toiled through, somebody pretty young as you is being talked through. Such a fame, such a celebrity status, right? Such a valuation of a company, space cars and whatnot that he talks about. That is where it brings in that motivation. It brings in that vote of confidence, that push and nudge to excel. So that's another thing that leadership does. Another, it's a process in the organizational setup, in the specifically work setting. It can be a sub manager guiding the work of subordinate, right? That's one of the things also can be looked at. And communication. I'm sure if you would have heard through some of the most prolific speakers, let it be any conclave, let it be any business idea, let it be a TV platform, I'm sure you had your own likings for somebody, the way that one articulates his or her thoughts, isn't it? That goes back to powerful speeches, that goes back to communication. And that's where I say, even the Barack Obama, when he was non-white president of America, he was asked through what is a book that he's reading through, and he said that it's Team of Rivals. That book talks about Abraham Lincoln's leadership style, and that says that in his cabinet he would always have people who would oppose his view. The reason being, when people oppose your view, they disagree, you'll have fresher perspectives coming in rather than the moment leader says that this is what I believe in my perspective, and everybody pitches in saying yes. So no questions being asked, and you might end up doing something as disastrous. And that's where I have very strongly maintained. I've always quoted that this is my perspective, not only the perspective. You may choose to differ, and the choices are entirely yours. As long as you justify why, that's pretty much okay. So that's where again communication is important, the dialogue is important. It shouldn't be a monologue or unilateral orders coming from the bosses. So that is about the leadership. I hope something has moved inside you and stays with this leadership session. We'll revisit one of the very, very interesting topics. And the last aspect of the management is controlling. Again, I'm very notoriously infamous for asking a lot of questions. I'm sorry to push you through, but the idea is only as a hardcore well-wisher of yours to hear through your opinions. Apart from this course, I wouldn't even get to hear you anytime. So I'm taking this as an opportunity. Again, controlling, this is something like looking forward and looking backward. We'll see into what does this mean. But for now, I have a question for the house. Do you have anything that you would like to revisit at a bygone time and correct it, modify it, or rework it? Do you have anything of such? That given a choice, given a time and space, you would revisit something and would bring around a change in your own life? Anything? Yep, people? Any answers here?
Yes, ma'am. I think almost everybody has something like that.
Yes, I think everyone does.
All right. Thank you, Vishruth, and thank you, Karthik, for that belief that yes, all of us, we are all people, and somewhere back in my mind, back in my heart, there are pain points, right? Definitely. But the idea here is, would anybody mind coming on air and talking about? If it's something very personal and you would not choose to talk about, it's absolutely all right. I appreciate, and I understand. That's a personal choice. No questions asked. But in case somebody has something, because there is a point that I'm trying to drive, and it will help me only to facilitate Yeah. Anything which is non-intimidating, somebody would like to talk about. That this was one thing that I was mistaken and given a choice, I'll revisit and correct it in this way. All right. Yes, Agrika, please.
Okay, ma'am. So, like, I think this is common for a lot of people. So, like, in class 11th and 12th, I really was like not mature enough to understand how to study. And like in college, I think I learned how exactly should we manage time and like not 24/7 in front of books, but still like be okay in studies. So, like, that was something I never knew in class in 11th and 12th. Like, I wish I had this. In like perception of what time management is, what I have now. I had it like 3-4 years back.
Okay. And what would it have changed, Sagarika? In case
I
maybe.
mean, yeah, like I couldn't get into a lot of colleges. Even in Manipal, I couldn't get into CS in the first go. So like a lot of effort down the line would have been saved. So that's one plus point.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you for being on air and wearing your scars, because you are nothing but a bunch of choices that you have made. Something worked for you, something didn't work for you. That's all what it defines us, isn't it? I'm so happy, Sagarika, at least you came on air, because this is non-intimidating. That commonly strikes, right? The moment I say I come from BITS Pilani, I know where it hurts for the engineers. So in that context, that's a common thing that applies, isn't
Yes,
it?
ma'am.
So that's where somewhere in the, who would not want to have those fancy titles and get into those positions? Maybe, as Sagarika said, that was being brutally honest. So most of us have those aspirations. Somewhere, had I done this better, I think my career choices, my career trajectory, and henceforth a lot of other things would have fallen in place. Very well. Next time, please have a confidence for yourself once again. Wear your scars, because those struggles are what defines you as an individual. People, anyways, wouldn't remember it for long, what you failed at and what you're not, as long as you moved on and you took a lesson onto it. I'll share my own experience, something similar to what Sagarika talked about. When I was planning to do my PhD, I was already UGC NET JRF awardee, which is given to top 1% of the NET qualifiers. So I applied at only 2 places for my PhD, which is the highest academic qualification. One was at IIM Ahmedabad, second was at FMS Delhi University. And luckily, I got call from both the places. And this is where IIM Ahmedabad, that's a dream institution for any management graduate. Since I'm an MBA, it would be the best position in the India to be at. And I got an interview and I absolutely had no clue about it, and I messed that up. I messed it really badly. For an interview that normally lasted 25 minutes, mine lasted at a grilling 45 minutes, and I couldn't make it. How that's an iconic date. I remember it for. Anybody remembers what 2nd April 2011 is best known for? 2nd April 2011. Anybody has guesses?
The World Cup final.
Yes. That's a die-hard cricket fan, guys. Yes, absolutely. That's an iconic date. India won World Cup, right? And I remember having seen it at massive screens put up at IIM Ahmedabad campus, right? So we had gala dinner, we had faculty interaction, we had students shouting, cheering, and celebrating the victory that India had, that iconic date. So for cricket enthusiasts, that goes to 2nd April 2011 as World Cup. For me and my individual capacity, that goes back to my IIM Ahmedabad interview. One of the most important learning lessons that I had in my life, which I failed badly. I took those learnings in my stride. Of course, everyone in the family cried that I didn't made it too, and I myself at the top of it. That know why I couldn't do it at the first place. Well, taking those learning forward, in the next 2 months, I had my interview lined up at FMS Delhi, which is as good as IIM Ahmedabad. And that's where I put in all my learnings around. And I was amongst the merit holders at FMS Delhi. This is exactly what controlling is. When you look into planning, something that you have planned is futuristic in orientation. Controlling, I took you back to some point in time. Exactly what controlling as a function is, looking backwards. And that's exactly where the first line on the slide says, the planning is looking ahead, which is futuristic. I plan to be a computer science engineer. I plan to be at this place, that place, whatever. Controlling is looking back. Like what went right, what went wrong, what could have been a better strategy, what could have been better. Maybe people ask a lot of questions. I can put it at my WhatsApp, my interview call letter at various other places and could boast about. I would have been in an entirely different career trajectory had I made it to that place, right? So there are a lot of things that you look back and we do an introspection in our own personal lives. We might talk about it, we might not talk about it, but we do have those pain points, isn't it? So that's what, as Vishnu talked about, most of us has it and others as well. So that's exactly controlling as a function. You look back at the first place, at what were your targets set, how short are you of those targets, and what is needed to fill up those gaps. That's management controlling function, right? So this is what planning helps to attain the goals of the organization. I'm just ending my discussion here on this slide. So planning helps attain the goals of the organization. Controlling helps you keep a check if you are, how near are you towards your goal alignment, or if there are any gaps to it. So it kind of brings in the checks and balances. It verifies and checks whether your actual performance corresponds to a desired performance. That's a desired goal that you had wanted to get into any of the IITs, BITS, or any other institution. That would have been a goal of yours, right? But then you didn't make it. So what stopped you there, right? And how do you use that learning so that next time when you have a plan, you'll shine out? I'm sure you'll still shine out, right? You're a brilliant bunch of people. That is where controlling as a function is. We'll subsequently continue our discussion in the next class. But thank you. That's more like a management class. I enjoyed my discussion today in the class for people participating and the richness of the discussion. Thank you so much. I'm signing this off.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.